हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी की नामिनी। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयन्ति।
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Today is very auspicious day. Today is the divine appearance day of Sripad Ramanujacharya. And also today, by blessings, I got the opportunity to come to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, we are having the 50 years of celebration on the opening of Shri Krishna Balaram Temple. It is a week-long celebration. It started from 30th of April and it will continue till 6th. But later I won't get the opportunity. So somehow I was thinking in my heart that I should at least go once. And today was a very special day because morning I was given the opportunity to glorify Sripad Ramanujacharya. I gave the class in the morning session in our temple. It was not my class. It was Rishi Kumar Prabhu's class, but he was not available. So Sadhvita Prabhu told me to give the class. And then after the class, I thought, let me go to Vrindavan today because most of the closing work was all done. So I came to Vrindavan and now I got a flat which is just opposite to our temple, Keshav Kunj, and I am the lone person in the flat. It has 3 rooms. But I must say I was participating in the evening session of the program. There were memories of Srila Prabhupada. It is such a galaxy of Prabhupada disciples. It has never happened before. More than 85 Srila Prabhupada disciples have assembled here for celebrating the 50th anniversary of opening of Krishna Balaram Temple. And many of them have come after many, many years. And this is the only occasion I feel now that so many of them will be assembled together. And they were all speaking their heart, sharing with us their blissful moments that they have had with Prabhupada here in Vrindavan Dham. You can watch the recordings. ISKCON Vrindavan. You can watch the recordings. And also there was the play by the resident devotees of Vrindavan. And I must say, I have never watched such a quality play. Very, very well prepared. Very well prepared, very well researched. And it was very, very captivating. But I had to come for the class, so I came. And also I had very great opportunity to have very close darshans of Krishna Balram and Radha Shyamsundar today. Because everyone is busy in the festival. The entire rush is in Goshala. So I could take long darshans, close darshans of Krishna Balram. Otherwise, it is always very crowded. So I had a very fortunate day so far. So we'll continue our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Priyanka has written, I will share the post. Thank you, Priyanka, for penning down your learnings, your thoughts. So we see how Srila Sukadev Goswami is bringing focus to someone who is already focused. That is Parikshit Maharaj. And he said what is not to be done and what should be done. And what should be done, we heard yesterday that Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishwaro Hari Shrotavya Kirtitavyasya Smartavyasa Ikshata Abhayam. And further, he says, very, very important verse. This is the verse for all of us, for everyone who comes in this material world. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam Swadharma Parinishthaya Janmalabha parapumsam ante narayana smriti. This is the desire of all those who are spiritual seekers. That ante narayana smriti. So how ante narayana smriti will come? So both these verses are leading us to this path. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, that is Yoga Bhyam, Sankhya Yoga Bhyam. Sankhya is the analytical study of both matter and spirit. By practice of mystic powers or by perfect discharge of occupational duty is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. So all these paths, either it is Sankhya or Yoga or Swadharma, the purpose is that Ante Narayana Smriti, that one is able to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Narayan is the transcendental personality of Godhead beyond the material creation. Everything that is created, sustained, and at the end annihilated is within the compass of the Mahatattva, material principle, and is known as the material world. From Mahavishnu comes the Mahatattva. The existence of Narayan or the personality of Godhead is not within the jurisdiction of this Mahatattva. And as such, the name, form, attribute, etc. of Narayan are beyond the jurisdiction of the material world. Simple logic. By the speculation of empiric philosophy, which discerns matter from spirit, or by cultivation of mystic powers, which ultimately help the performer to reach any planet of the universe or beyond the universe, or by discharge of religious duties, one can achieve the highest perfection, provided one is able to reach the stage of Narayana Smriti or constant remembrance of the personality of Godhead. So how to do that? Or the path is given, the process is given. What is to be practiced? The Prabhupada says this is possible only by the association of a pure devotee who can give a finishing touch to the transcendental activities of all jnanis, yogis or karmis in terms of prescribed duties defined in the scriptures. So that's finishing touch comes from the devotee. There are many historical instances of the achievement of spiritual perfection, such as that of the Sanakadi Rishis or the 9 celebrated Yogendras. They are known as Nimis, who attained perfection only after being situated in the devotional service of the Lord. None of the devotees of the Lord ever deviated from the path of devotional service by taking to other methods, such as those adopted by the Jnanis or Yogis. Everyone is anxious to achieve the highest perfection of his particular activity. And it is indicated herein that such perfection is Narayana Smriti, for which everyone must endeavor his best. In other words, life should be molded in such a manner that one is able to progressively remember the personality of Godhead in every step of life. So this is the point. Prabhupada saying life should be molded in such a way, in such a manner, that one is able to progressively remember the personality of Godhead in every step of life. Prayana muniyo rajan nivritta vidhi sedhata nirgunyastha ramante sma punanu kathane hari. Very beautiful verse. This verse is similar to one of the verses in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Which verse? This verse is very similar to Bhagavad Gita verse. Prayana muniyo rajan nivrit vidhi sedhata nirgunyo stharamante sma Punanu Kathane Hari. O King Parikshit, mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulatory principles and restrictions take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Very famous verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which gives the same focus to those who are actually devotees. What is their most pleasurable activity? I've dropped a very big hint. Tell me the verse. This verse is there in Bhagavad Gita, very famous verse. Yes, Ramya Boli.
तो मुझे पूरा याद नहीं आ रहा है मत चित्ता मत गता प्राण
Yes,
तुस्य
yes, 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 exactly. Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam dushyanti cha ramanti cha. This is what is being said here also. That they are nirgunyastha ramante sma gunanu kathane hari. The topmost transcendentalist is a liberated soul and is therefore not within the purview of the regulative principles. So that means one who is on the platform of Paramahansa. For him, all these regulative principles are not required. Why? Because his mind is already attached to Krishna. A neophyte who is intended to be promoted to the spiritual plane is guided by the spiritual master under regulative principles. He may be compared to a patient who is treated by various restrictions under medical jurisdiction. Generally, liberated souls take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities as mentioned above. Who takes pleasure? Liberated soul, not others. There was one pastime which one of Prabhupada's disciples narrated. He said that he was in Vrindavan and that day happened to be Ras Purnima. You know the Ras Purnima? The first Purnima that comes on the month of Kartik. And one of Prabhupada's disciples said, he told the name also, I'm not recollecting the name. When Maharaj came and told Prabhupada that, would you like to hear today on the Rasa dance descriptions that you have given in Krishna book? And Prabhupada said, yes. There are how many chapters of Rasa dance in Srimad Bhagavatam? This at least you should know. Purushottam, how many chapters are there?
Hare Krishna wrote this 10th canto is there.
Yeah, how many chapters are there, my dear? 10th canto, of course, it is 10th canto. It is said Rasa Pancha Adhyaya. Rasa Pancha Adhyaya. It is from 29 chapter till 33. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. So he started to read from Krishna book. It was 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. And Prabhupada, this devotee who was explaining, Prabhupada disciple, Prabhupada had closed his eyes and he was in deep meditation. And he thought that I was thinking maybe Prabhupada has slept. He said after 2 hours, in Prabhupada's Krishna book, Prabhupada gives many times some verses also. So this devotee was not able to pronounce the verse properly. And Prabhupada after 2 hours was so deeply hearing that when this devotee pronounced the verse incorrectly, Prabhupada corrected him. And everyone in the room was stunned. This is what it was sharing his experience, what it means to hear with attention, with rapt attention. Prabhupada was in full bliss, in full transcendental bliss. So this is what Prabhupada is mentioning here. The liberated souls take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities, as mentioned above. Since Narayan Hari, the personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation, his form and attributes are not material. The topmost transcendentalist or liberated soul realizes him by advanced experience of transcendental knowledge. And therefore they take pleasure in the discussion of the transcendental qualities of the Lord's pastimes. This is what Srila Prabhupada gave us, what he was experiencing. In the Bhagavad Gita 4.9, very famous verse, the personality of Godhead declares that his appearance and activities are all divyam or transcendental. The common man who is under the spell of material energy takes it for granted that the Lord is like one of us. And therefore he refuses to accept the transcendental nature of the Lord's form, name, etc. The topmost transcendentalist is not interested in anything material and is taking interest in the matter of the Lord's activities is definite proof that the Lord is not like one of us in the material world. See, both things. The topmost transcendental is not interested in anything material and is taking interest in the matter of the Lord's activity is definite proof that the Lord is not like one of us in the material world. In the Vedic literature also it is confirmed that the Supreme Lord is one, but that he is engaged in his transcendental pastimes in the company of his unalloyed devotees, and simultaneously he is present as a super soul, an expansion of Baldev in the heart of all living entities. Therefore, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure. See, please, hear me. Therefore, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure in hearing and describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord and not in merging into his impersonal Brahman existence, for which the impersonalist monist aspires. Real transcendental pleasure is realized in the glorification of the transcendental Lord and not in the feeling of being situated in his impersonal feature. But there are also others who are not the topmost transcendentalist, but are in the lower status, and who do not take pleasure in describing the transcendental activities of the Lord. Rather, they discuss such activities of the Lord formally with the aim of merging into his existence. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Adhitvan Dwaparado Piturdvaipanayadaham. The history of Srimad Bhagavatam is being told. How Srimad Bhagavatam has flowed. Idam Bhagavatam Nama. It is Puranam Brahma Samhitam. Brahma Samhitam means that it is the essence of all the Vedas. And when it has appeared, Aditam Dwapara Ado. At the end of Dwapara. Today in the morning I was reciting one verse. It was from Brihad Narayana. Puran, Bharat Narayan Puran, where Lord Narayan is telling Lakshmi Devi about his incarnation in the form of Ramanujacharya. There also it was mentioned as Dwapara Adav and Kali Yuge. At the end of Dwapar and the beginning of Kali Yuga. But here we see Srimad Bhagavatam is only at the end of Dwapar. But at the end of Dwapar Yuga, I studied this great supplement of Vedic literature named Srimad Bhagavatam, which is equal to all the Vedas from my father, Srila Dvaipayan Vyasadeva. This Srila Shukdev Goswami is expressing. The statement made by Srila Shukdev Goswami in the last verse that mainly the topmost transcendentalists who are the beyond the jurisdiction of regulations and restrictions take to the task of hearing about and glorifying the personality of Godhead is verified by his personal example. Shukdev Goswami, being a recognized liberated soul and the topmost transcendentalist, was accepted by all of the topmost sages present in the meeting during the last 7 days of Bharat Pariksha. He cites from the example of his life that he himself was attracted by the transcendental activities of the Lord. And he studied Srimad Bhagavatam from his great father, Sri Dvaipayan Vyasadeva. Srimad Bhagavatam, or for that matter, any other scientific literature, cannot be studied at home by one's own intellectual capacity. Prabhupada is warning us that it cannot be read by one's own intellectual capacity. Medical books of anatomy or physiology are available in the market, but no one can become a qualified medical practitioner simply by reading such books at home. One has to be admitted to the medical college and study the books under the guidance of the learned professors. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam, the postgraduate study of the science of Godhead, can be learned by studying only by studying it at the feet of a realized soul like Srila Vyasadeva. Although Sukdev Goswami was a liberated soul from the very day of his birth, he still had to take lessons of Srimad Bhagavatam from his great father Vyasadeva, who compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam under the instructions of another great soul, Sri Narad Muni. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed a learned Brahmana to study Srimad Bhagavatam from a personal Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is based on the transcendental name, form, attributes, pastimes, entourage, and variegatedness of the Supreme Person. And it is spoken by the incarnation of the personality of Godhead. Srila Vyasadeva pastimes of the Lord are executed in cooperation with his pure devotee. And consequently, historical incidents are mentioned in this great literature because they are related to Krishna. It is called Brahma Samhitam because it is the sound representative of Lord Krishna. Like the Bhagavad Gita is the sound incarnation of the Lord because it is spoken by the Supreme Lord. And Srimad Bhagavatam is another sound representative of the Lord because it was spoken by the incarnation of the Lord about the activities of the Lord. As stated in the beginning of this book, it is the essence of all Vedic desire tree and the natural commentation on the Brahma Sutras, the topmost philosophical thesis on the subject matter of Brahman. Vyasadeva appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga as the son of Satyavati. And therefore the word Dwapar Adav or the beginning of Dwapar age in this context means just prior to the beginning of the Kali Yuga. The logic of this statement, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, is comparable to that of calling the upper portion of the tree the beginning. The root of the tree is the beginning of the tree, but in common language, the upper portion of the tree is the first thing. In that way, the end of the tree is accepted as its beginning. So the history is being repeated how Srimad Bhagavatam came into inception. Okay, I will stop here. I'm extremely tired. I have to take rest. Any discussion? Ante Narayana Smriti. Everyone should aspire at least. Yes, Ramya?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। प्रभु जी 8 नंबर वर्स का लास्ट 3 लाइन मुझे समझ में नहीं आया।
8th.
जी।
Okay. Vyasadeva appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga as the son of Satyavati. And therefore the word Dwapar Adau or the beginning of Dwapar Yuga in this construct means just prior to the beginning of Kali Yuga. Okay. Is clear? The end of Dwapar, that means the beginning of Kali Yuga. It is a little tricky because it is not saying Dwapar Anta, it is saying Dwapar Adau. Prabhupada is saying here that Vyasadeva appeared at the end of Dwapar Yuga as the son of Satyavati. And therefore, the word Dwapar Adau or the beginning of Dwapar Yuga in this construct means just prior to the beginning of Kali Yuga. Just prior to the beginning of Kali Yuga is which Yuga? End of Dwapar Yuga. Okay? So far it is clear?
यस प्रभु जी।
Now comes the other point. The logic of this statement, according to Srila Jiva Goswami, is comparable to that of calling the upper portion of the tree the beginning. The root of the tree is the beginning of the tree. But in common knowledge, the upper portion of the tree is first seen. In that way, the end of the tree is accepted as its beginning. Can you accept this? हरे कृष्णा आवाज आ रहा
हरे
है
जी। प्रभु जी जैसे एक ट्री का रूट पहले डेवलप होता है और ब्रांचेस बाद में होता है, लेकिन हमें ब्रांचेस दिखता है इसीलिए हम ब्रांचेस को ही बिगिनिंग सोचते हैं।
But in common knowledge, the upper portion of the tree is first seen. In that way, the end of the tree is accepted as its beginning. This is what Srila Jiva Goswami is explaining. Very good. You're very attentive to be able to detect these intricate explanations. Okay, I'll end here. Tomorrow I will be returning. I will return around 7. So in any case, I won't be able to reach there in 2 hours. But from the car, I will try to connect and have class. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand.